Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, and welcome back to some Club 100 heavyweight racing, this time at Rye House for round number 5 of the 2025 championship, as we get straight in to heat number 1, which was a back start for this one. For those of you that may not be sure or unfamiliar with sprint racing, you can get a front, middle and back start for heats, and then depending on how well you do or not, it will set your grid position for the finals. But Rye House is a difficult place to make quick progress, so trying to make some good progress through the first lap is really, really important. Something that I'm not doing particularly well right now. Have made no position through the first lap so far, and we're rapidly approaching the end of it. As we jump forward, nothing else happened that lap. I made absolutely no progress whatsoever. As we go ahead onto the next lap, however, able to make a move up into the inside of hairpin number 1. Mike Bonner tries to stick it up around the outside there, but nothing doing as he's faced with a tyre barrier, which is not what you want to be faced with on a go-kart circuit. Clear track is what you want, not a tyre barrier, so he wisely lifts off and tucks in as we make an opportunistic move going through Pylon Corner. The driver in front of me there just didn't quite manage to get the turn in, and that left the space for me, so I gladly took that. Again, jumping forward now, we've started making some progress going down towards the hairpin. There's a bit of a gap in between the cart in front of me and the cart in front of them, which makes a move into that hairpin all the more accessible. If you've got carts that are really close together, it can sometimes make it difficult to make a move into that corner, because you can't really use the overspeed and you end up hitting into the cart in front of you. But can we try and do the same as we did last time, make a move at the hairpin and then at the pylon corner? No, not this time. Driver on the apex, a little bit too slow for us to follow him through. And the driver on the outside did a good job of maintaining speed, but this time look to throw it up the inside, get ourselves alongside, but not getting the drive needed. But we do try to pinch to compromise his line as he goes through the final 2 corners, which kind of worked. You can see there that I got the drive coming out the corner, but he comes across to the white line, opens it up though, and that's all I needed to get my nose up the inside through the long right-hander of Stadium. That's another position. Yeah, interesting choice there to sort of defend with me right on his bumper and then come back across to take a bit of a normal racing line. You don't actually need to come too far left. You can take that first corner pretty tight because the radius of it is so long, but not complaining. Enabled me to get up the inside, and a bit like there, up the inside of a super heavyweight who tries to squeeze up the inside, going through the left-hand kick before the right-hand final corner, but that would be it for race number 1. Finishing 7th, and ideally 5th or better is what you want, and I think my slow start to the race was not ideal. But we jump ahead to heat number 2, where I will be starting on pole position. We've had our back start in for heat number 1, our front start in heat number 2, and we've got Anwar alongside. I think Miguel Hall behind him on the starting grid, so 2 very quick C1s. We've got Joe Holmes in this race as well, so trying to get a good start and pull away is going to be the order of the day to try and capitalise on a front start here. As we go through the first few corners, able to get enough of a gap to Anwar so he's not going to think about throwing it down our inside, and because there's a bit of a gap and I was able to take a bit more of a conventional racing line, you can see there as we look behind that the gap to the super heavyweight of Mike Bodner, currently in P3, has opened up as well. So that would be quite important, because obviously I said Joe Holmes in this one, very, very quick at getting through traffic, and he's not someone you want chasing you down, and nor is Anwar, to be fair. But as we jump ahead, I don't think Anwar quite had the front end on his kart to keep up with us. Maybe he'd been worked a bit harder. As we come on to the last lap with a bit of a check over the shoulder, you can see we've got a nice gap, so this was a case of me just saying to myself, don't make any silly mistakes, and we didn't. Managed to finish off the last lap nicely. Thumbs up to the old man for the win, and then we spot Ryan taking photos and give him a nice little rave as well. So P7 and a P1 so far, not the end of the world, but a P5 or better would have been nice in heat number 1. As we go on to heat number 3, which would be kind of like a middly backish kind of start. This time on the outside, not ideal, because as I say, like, you've got a really long first corner and you end up getting stuck, and further forward you go, you can get a bit of a train going out there. We've got Miguel climbing over the back of Adam Hadfield, I think that is. We end up having to go around the outside of that left and kind of lose momentum, get Kurt going up our inside as well. And here tried to sling up the inside to try and stay nice and tight behind Kurt. Got a bit of a bump from behind for my trouble there, which kind of helped, but at the same time it's not something I really wanted to be hit through the corner. So I get a bit of a bump again, and also Kart's in front really concertinaing up, and Kurt not particularly happy, but we weren't about to try and capitalise on that. That would not have been fair. So allow him to go in front, and we'll see if we can use him through the rest of this race to make some progress. As he looks to try and capitalise going through hairpin number 2 on something that might happen, but instead it's us that is trying to capitalise as we go through the new chicane. Kurt able to keep it alongside us, and that actually does me over a little bit, and I have to sort of get the elbows out going through pylon to stay behind, but yeah, not able to capitalise on what could have been a good opportunity, and therefore lose out on making some progress. We defend going down to the long right-hander and then get lent on a little bit by the cart behind, a little bit of a bump. You can see me shaking my head there, and yeah, wasn't particularly happy. A long right-hander like that, as soon as you get any kind of push from the cart behind, you just can't get the cart rotated. And you can see there again, a bit of a jolt in the head, another bump going through the long right-hander, and yeah, wasn't in the best of moods at this point. I'm all for bumping people along, but going through a corner like that is not the one. As rather animated on the turnaround there to demonstrate my displeasure with the driver behind, but. Yeah, the more frustrating thing was it was really costing both of us time, and we could have potentially made better progress. We do manage to get a couple of positions as Kurt and Miguel have a bit of a coming together going through hairpin 2, and that allows me to get through both of them and see if I can make some progress on Adam Hadfield in front as we jump forward a lap or so. Look to try and make the move going through pylon, but not able to maintain speed through the apex. Do you manage to squeeze him as we go through and see if that interrupts his run going down the straight, which it does, but again, going towards that right-hand side, this time not going all the way across, can't try to slip out the inside, going into that tightest part of the stadium, and at this point I've kind of lost enough ground to make a move going into the hairpin, which allows Kurt to say, well, I'm close enough to you, so I'm going to go for it. And as he does, I'm not able to maintain the best speed going through the corner, and Miguel is able to get through as well. Coming through hairpin 2, tried to get the run in by cutting back, but just didn't quite have the bottom end to make that work. And those 2 positions that I gained earlier through some misfortune for Miguel and Kurt, I end up giving back. Just not a particularly well run race, that one. P12 in the end, and that would really be painful as it puts me towards the back for the A final. But the A final has been made. Unlike Rissington, we are towards the front, and I have to say, nobody thought anyone was going to get 3 wins at Rye House. It's just one of those circuits where making progress from the back to try and get to the lead would be incredibly difficult. And then Alex Pritchard just goes and wins all 3 heats and puts himself on pole. So there's something about Rye House and Alex that they just go together. He's always done well there, but whilst he might be having a very exciting and calm start to the race, starting from the front of the grid, I am not. It's all rather hectic, and we lose places as the kart on the outside of us there gets an amazing run on the outside. I think that's probably a bit of a rocket ship. Not to say the driver's not good, but given that I think he had a bit of a worse run through hairpin 2 than I did to then drive past me in a straight line. Yeah, that car I think has the motor that you wanted. As a bit of a look over, see Miguel behind and say, look, there's a bit of a gap in front of me. Let's see if we can catch it up as we jump ahead to lap number 3, where we've caught up with Stephen Restwood in front of us. A bit of a gap in front of him, and that allows me to use a bit of overspeed going into hairpin 1 and make a position on him. These Mitas tyres that we were running for this weekend, owing to some issues with distribution of Dunlop tyres. They were so grippy. You could brake so late and really ask a lot of the kart going into that hairpin, which in some ways made the moves a bit easier, in some ways made it hard because everyone was able to brake late, especially if you were comparable in terms of ability. But yeah, anyway, we look forward now with Sam Middles in front of us, and weren't really in a position to kind of capitalise on the move that was made a moment ago. And you may have noticed already, but the driver ahead, the number 39 kart in the orange helmet, has been making some rather robust moves thus far in this race, and I'm all for hard racing, but some of them have been a little bit more firm than others, as Pike there, not able to get the run, having rejoined the circuit that he would have wanted coming out of hairpin number 2, and I was able to get alongside and had the preferred line going into the new chicane, which is fantastic. It's everything that the chicane at the end of Wilton Mill should be, rather than that clumsy, horrible mess that it is. But hey-ho, at least Rye House be able to get it right, as we don't really make any ground on Sam in front. Again, looking ahead, they've got 3 wide going into the hairpin, which is not going to work, and there's kind of nowhere for me to really go. If I'd have held it tight, probably would have lost out, and then nowhere to go on the outside. And yeah, this was kind of my theme for the day, was just not being in the right place, not for lack of trying, but not being in the right place to capitalise on some of the moves or misfortune of others, which is something I'm normally quite good at. So it was disappointing to not be able to do that as much today, and yeah, just kind of feeling a bit stagnant. We've kind of been in this like 13th, 11th, 12th kind of area of the race for quite a long time now, on to lap 8 of what would be a 17 lap race, but look to make the move up the inside, not really able to make the time on the brakes. And as I said there, you can see that Pike was able to brake really late, which meant that I couldn't brake any later really, but having made a decent run out of the last corner, able to get the nose up the inside going through Stadium Corner, and you can see there just braking on the outside and not having the cleanest line. Both Miguel and Stephen Westwood able to get through as well, as we come up behind Steve Bosley, and we'll try to make the move relatively quickly on him, as up to this point in the race he's sort of been coming towards us as opposed to making his way forward. So my mentality here was, well, I need to try and get past Steve as quickly as possible to see if I can keep up with the drivers in front and make a bit more progress. So coming through Stadium on the outside is Steve. I look to go up the inside, but maybe not quite alongside enough. He turns in to try and take the corner, and whilst I'm not going to disappear, equally I wasn't super alongside. So I think both of us got a contact warning at the end of the lap for that, which I think is fair. And yeah, it would mean some more thinking needed, as Steve goes for a very similar move on Scott Parker in front. And as you can see again, whilst they got slowed down from the move, the only place I could really go was to the inside, which would become the outside for hairpin number 2. And we end up losing a place to Miguel, which in the grand scheme of things, not ideal, seeing as we're relatively close to each other in the championship as it stands at the moment, and finishing in front of him would be beneficial. But yeah, this is at this point really confirmed it that I need to try and get past Steve. And luckily, as we go through the long Stadium Corner, he kind of just checks up a little bit early, which induces a little bit of contact, but I kind of had to capitalise it and just sort of see what will come of it, and none of it will come from it in the end. As we go through into a yellow flag zone, Scott had just been overtaken by Miguel, and I was kind of hoping that in his loss of momentum, having been sort of forced wide from the move, I'd be able to keep mine going into hairpin 1 and make the move as well, but the yellow flag prevented that, and then not able to really get the drive coming off hairpin 2 to get alongside enough going into the chicane. Have another little sniff going on the outside, not really looking for the move around the outside at that point in the circuit. That would be optimistic to the point of foolishness to really expect a move to come off there, but it's more so to try and keep applying that pressure to Scott as we come on to the penultimate lap now, down to hairpin 1. He started to defend, and just trying to put myself in his peripheral vision as much as I possibly can, really try and mount that pressure and then either force him into a mistake or recognise an opportunity when it comes about. Definitely no opportunity as we go through pylon. The right-hander there, Scott kept it nice and tight on the right-hand side, preventing any kind of move, and you can't really afford going to the outside there, not going to get enough of a run. Keeps it tight all the way into the stadium corner, but just opens it up, and I have a think about shoving the nose at the inside there, but get cut off, and that would have been very opportunistic and probably quite dangerous as well. So back out of it and live to fight another day as we go down towards hairpin 1. Kept it tight enough that I thought about it and decided against it to go into hairpin 2. Puts himself in the middle of the circuit, and that compromises his run as he comes out, and I'm able to get alongside and take that position off of Scott, putting myself up into 10th place. And it all started kind of kicking off behind there. There's a big old melee that would result in a few position changes by the time we get to the end of the lap, but that was the last lap, sort of a last moment overtake on Scott to get us up into 10th. And a very mixed Rye House in the end. Not really progressing enough in the first heat. End up 7th, probably should have ended up better if I'd been a bit quicker. Win, and then a couple of hard-fought races after that. But after the round, we'd see Joe leading the championship over Anwar and Kurt, then a bit of a drop down to Alex after his fantastic day, Mikey, Adam, myself, Marcel just behind, who is the lead C2 and on his way seemingly to a Class 2 championship. But that'll be it. A round at Rye House, a hot day and some rather hotly fought racing as well. So thank you very much for watching, as always. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, have a good one.